Hi, thanks for using My Court Coach. I'm Sarah. I'll be your instructor today as we talk about the declaration in support of motion to cancel or set aside a judgment of parentage, also known as Form FL-273. As with all our court forms, you want to fill in your identifying case caption information at the top. This form would be attached to a notice of motion to cancel or set aside a judgment of parentage. That's Form FL-272, and there is a separate video on that form. You want to attach a copy of this declaration for each child for whom relief is being requested. So below, you want to list the name of the child that you're asking for the judgment of parentage to be set aside for. You want to list their name, date of birth, and then if you have the address and county of residence, include that. Otherwise, you can write in unknown. Next, you want to include the name and address for the previously established father. And if you know that they have been deceased, then you want to list date of death and place of death. And same for the previously established mother, same information. Genetic father, if it's someone different than the previously established father, then you would list all that information for that person as well. If it is the same, if the previously established father and genetic father are the same, you would list same as above. Mother, if the genetic mother and the previously established mother are the same, you would list same as above. If there is a guardian of the child that is not one of the people listed above, if there is a person that has primary physical custody of the child, then you would want to include their name, their address, and whether or not they have deceased. If there is a guardian ad litem for the child, that's going to be an attorney that is representing the child, then you would want to include their name and address. And if there's anyone else that has a role in this case pertaining to the paternity of the child, then you would want to specify who that person is, their name, address, and whether or not they have been deceased. In support of this request, you need to provide the reasons why you believe that the previously established parent is not the genetic parent of the child. So whatever reasons that those are, you can explain it here. If this is not enough space for you, you're free to attach another sheet of paper to this and just make sure you're marking the box that says included in the attached page. If there has been another judgment of parentage in this case for the same previously established parent and child, you'd want to notify the court of that by saying there is. And if there is, you need to list the case number, state, and county of the court. If there is not, then you can just write is not. If you have a copy of that judgment, then you would want to attach it to this form. If it's not attached, explain why you weren't able to attach it. If there's anything else regarding a different judgment of paternity pertaining to this set-aside request, you would specify that in Section 3C. If there has been a voluntary declaration of parentage or paternity, then you would want to complete this section below. Only if there is a voluntary declaration of parentage or paternity. If there is not, you can leave this section blank. So if there has been, then you would want to mark box 4. And then if you have a copy of that declaration, then you want to attach it to this. If not, explain why not. If the voluntary declaration of parentage or paternity was the basis for a court order being entered finding parentage or paternity, then mark box 4B and list the date that that court order was entered and the case number. If the voluntary declaration of paternity or parentage, if you're asking for it to be canceled or set aside, then list the reasons why. That would be fraud, duress, material mistake, or fact. And just to go over that, fraud is if you were kept in ignorance of the true facts by another person. Duress is if you were threatened or mentally coerced into signing the declaration. Material mistake of fact is if you thought the facts were different from what they really are. If the voluntary declaration of paternity was filed before January 1st, 2020, or if you did not sign the declaration, then you can also claim mistake, inadvertence, surprise, or excusable neglect, or any other reason that you think the court should be aware of. If the voluntary declaration of parentage or paternity is void, or you believe it to be void, mark 4D and explain the reasons why you believe that. And again, if this is not enough space for you, you have the option of attaching another sheet of paper. Just make sure to notify the court of that there is additional continuation of these facts by marking the box that says contained in the attached declaration. At the very bottom of the form, you want to print your name, sign, and date. Attach this form to your FL-272, and it is ready to be filed with the court as part of your request to set aside judgment of parentage. I hope you found this helpful. Good luck.